Hi, welcome back to Automotive Electronics. Today we're working on a '09 Ford Escape, or in San Antonio sometimes it's called an Escape. Alright, this bad boy, I already had it apart, I already know what's wrong with it, but I guess I can kind of halfway show y'all how to get them apart. Alright, so normally it's got the needles on it right there. You want to mark the needles where the stop point is. As you rotate these around, you'll feel it hit a stop. And you'll want to rotate them around without any power applied to the board. And when you get to that stop point, you'll mark. Just take a little pencil. You can use tape. You can use whatever you want. Mark where your stop point is. And then just rotate against that stop and pull up at the same time, removing the needles. Do that on all 4 needles. Alright, in the back here there are several little clips. Actually, this piece is on there, and there is a screw right here. Okay, take the screw out, remove that, that just pulls away, and then there are several little clips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This board here, it rotates up like this as you get it unclipped. Okay, these down here, they don't have any give to them, so you'll have to rotate it up like this and then move it away. Alright, once you got this board out, the problem with this board is it doesn't have any power, supposedly. When I got it on the bench, it did have power. So we'll throw a little power to it and see what happens, and we still have it powering up. So I gave up on trying to get it to power down. Nothing you can do really makes it power down, but I'm going to believe my customer, and he says it doesn't have any power. Alright, we're going to go over here to the microscope, and I'll show you why it doesn't have any power. Let me swap you around here, viewed in on what I'm seeing. So I got the board under the microscope right there, and I'm going to move around till I can see what's going on under the microscope. And I'm hoping I can get you in where you can see. But wish I had a laser pointer here. That would be way too nice. We're gonna have a little better setup here in a little while. See, okay, so this pin right here. Around that pin you can see a crack if you squint your eyes and look real hard. Well, around a bunch of pins you can see cracking. And that is what's going on. So we can absolutely believe our customer that it is powering down. It is powering down, and we now know what's wrong. Done with our microscope here. Get it out of the way. Try to get you guys set up to where you can see and the phone won't fall over, and I can use my soldering iron and all that good stuff. Alright, so let's just get you down a little closer. Alright, I'll try not to get out of frame. I have a bad habit of doing that. I'll crank up our soldering iron. And this is really not much to this repair as far as technical and challenging as my skill levels, at least. I hope it doesn't challenge yours, but if it does, you can send it to us and we'll take care of it for you. Alright, so now that our soldering iron is hot, all we got to do is get a little solder. Get your old man glasses on here. So pretty simple process here. Getting a good, comfortable position for yourself. Now, if you've got a soldering iron with a pistol grip on it, this ain't going to work for you. If you've got a soldering iron with a propane tank attached to it, this is not going to work for you. Get the proper equipment. You can find these on Amazon, you know, this format at least on Amazon, and they're not that expensive. So you want to save yourself some money, you might have to spend a little money to save a little money. So just get on your pen and just feed a little bit of solder into each one of those. You're filling in those cracks using a little lead-based solder instead of whatever the hell it is that OSHA requires. And hopefully in the future you won't have this problem. Soldering is a little bit of a acquired skill. What you want to do is put your tip on. You'll see the solder, if you've got a good pair of readers on at least, you'll see the solder melt, and then you just want to add a little bit. And you don't want to stay on there too long, and you want to stay on there just long enough. You don't want to add too much solder. I'm just adding barely any. Let's get this thing to focus, and I can look at the camera at the same time. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to add about that much solder, probably like a millimeter of solder to each one of these. This is where the power plug comes through the through holes for the board, and all your connections are made on the board side. So this is 99.9% confirmed that this would have been the problem that he was describing. It is a good thing to go through here and look and see if you can see anything else. We don't typically see a lot of problems with this board. Other than that, sometimes we'll have some display issues. His is nice and bright. Okay, I'm just looking for any additional problems that might jump out at me. Don't really see anything. This is your memory chip, or it's a processor that's on the back, contains all the memory for the cluster. So if you ever have to replace one of these, what we do is with these 6 little pads here, we can access this processor and then read all the memory out of your old cluster and then program it into a replacement cluster, if yours is beyond repair. The best thing to do is just fix yours. So looks like we're pretty good. That's it for the soldering, and we're going to go back together with this. You can probably figure out how to get this thing apart without too much trouble. Getting it back together properly might be another story. So sit your gauge faces down on a flat surface. You're gonna feed this board back in. Now my glasses are too strong. Gotta get rid of them. All right, so get your board fed back in underneath these little tabs here on the bottom. Rotate it back down, and it will snap in place underneath all these other little retention tabs. All right, this goes back on your arm as well. The best way to get this thing snapped on there properly is just a flat blade screwdriver, which I have misplaced. Okay, there it is. It's just like push down on each side of your tab. There's little wings on each of these tabs, and they will just grab a hold of that little thin plastic. That little piece of plastic I put on there just then was about as thick as a piece of paper, so it just slides right in there with a little help from your screwdriver. These as well. It's got a little felt on some of these. I'm supposing that's to keep it from rattling, something along those lines. Here's the screw that I took out earlier. All right, now you got your board back in place. The process of setting your needles on here is just, you want to put them back on kind of far away from where you're at. from where your stop is. Now my stop is right there. I can feel that stop. The mark where I need it at is right there. So we're just going to move it over. It's that simple. Just rotate it counterclockwise, and now my stop is right where it goes. Now you can, if you put them on like that and your stop's way down there, when it needs to be up here, just rotate it all the way around and stop it. One caution on these is don't sink your needles in too far. If you sink your needles in too far, they're going to be grinding against the face. So you want to leave a little small gap. Not, it looks kind of big on camera, but a little small gap. A gap about the width of this needle here, down here at this end, between the faces and the edge of this thing right here. Yeah, I'm not doing a very good job with the camera. Okay, right there. Rotate it down. Now we're going to check that everything resets the way it's supposed to. We'll power it up. You do this at home by just sticking it in your vehicle. Verify your gauges reset and go to their home position, which is pretty much 0, 0, on empty. That one looks a little high to me, and this one looks kind of low, like it's not even working. Let's recycle that. We're getting the active twitching there. Yeah, it doesn't come up. All right. Well, that's interesting. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and pull this thing back apart, because I don't like how that gauge is acting. We might have missed something. Sometimes that happens. That's why we do our checks at the end. Make sure that we're all good. Turns out this time didn't look all good. So this thing just kind of pulls away. You just got to get underneath it and pull on it, and it'll pull away. Alright, we've got it all off now. This is the process of unseating the board from its little retention tabs. It's pretty straightforward, really. Get up under it. Kill the power to it here. Hold up with your finger on here, and provides a little tension on the board. And as you release the tabs, the board will come up, just like so. Now we can take a look at that stepper motor. So that stepper motor was this one. Let's go have a look at that one. We'll look at first and look at the sorry, you guys are kind of out on this deal right now until I can see what I'm looking at. All I'm looking at is for those same cracks, whether they appear in the mounts for the stepper motor, which they do not. So at this point, I'm just going to replace that stepper motor. The process of replacing a stepper motor is step one, get your old man glasses on. Get yourself one of these solder suckers. You're going to heat that solder point until it releases, or till the solder gets molten, rather. And then release your solder sucker. This thing has a plunger. When you hit the button, it comes up, creates a suction at the tip. See if I can get it to do it. So, see how it's still got suction? It's sucking on my finger, and as I let go, it comes out. So it's got a pretty good suction on it. At that point, when you get your solder off of there good, this thing should just kind of fall away. Just grab it from the back and it'll fall away. Now all I've got to do is find me a Ford stepper motor that matches. Okay. Well, I've got some here, but I'm going to have to find them. I'll put y'all on pause. Okay, back again. We got our new stepper motor. We have these little pins on them that can just line them up with the holes in the board. I'll guide you in there. Naturally, I put my glasses down. I gotta get those back on. And you're just going to reapply your solder. It's about the same process as when we were soldering those header pins. Just flow a little bit of solder on there. Make sure you got a good connection. Everything's shiny and pretty. Come back over to the other bench. I'll go through this process of putting this thing back together one more time. Bottom edge first, rotate it in place, snaps in. Now we've got to set the needles. If you miss that and go over just a little bit, don't sweat it, just go all the way around, do it again. I've done it twice in a row. Now we finally got it where we want it. Okay. Okay. Where'd that other one go? Alright. We're good. Let's see what kind of action we get with the power this time. Got your little twitchy startup, which is normal for these. And now we definitely came up off the stop a little bit, so I'm happier with that. My gas gauge is still a little high, so let me rotate that down. The adjustments are just as easy as, just adjusting where your stop is. Alrighty, happy with that. Get our lens in place here, which just snaps on. The lens comes off by removing the tension on these little clips all around the outside. It's got those things all the way around. Alright, so we're back together with the exception of this little doohickey. Get that back in place. And we got one screw in the back. And we got two in the front. And that is that. I'm going to go ahead and remove this and clean this lens a little bit. It's pretty nasty looking. Got some crusties on there. Don't even want to know what the rest of the car looks like. Alrighty, it's all cleaned up and ready to get back to your customer. want to thank you guys for hanging with me. My videos are going to get a lot better. I just bought a video mixer board. It's apparently on the slow boat from China, or maybe the one that hit the bridge in Baltimore. I don't know. But it's supposed to have already been here, and it's not. So we're still using the old equipment, other than my new microphone, which I'm very happy with. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope I helped you out. If I did, I hope I earned a like and subscribe. I would appreciate that very much. It helps me. And I'll see you guys on the next one.